The stars above Eros 9 station shimmered like they always had, silent, peaceful, calm. Diplomats from across the galaxy walked the shining metal halls, their voices soft, their smiles polite. Peace had lasted for 20 years. Most believed it would last forever, but Captain Rhea Carter didn't believe in forever. She stood near the giant window of the Earth Embassy, watching the stars. Something in her gut felt wrong. She couldn't explain it. There were no warnings, no alerts, no enemy signals. But still, the silence felt heavy. Behind her, a group of alien diplomats laughed and drank at a long glass table. Their species were many tall creatures with crystal blue skin, small ones with floating orbs, and feathered beings from the cloud colonies. All members of the Galactic Peace Council. Rhea turned as someone approached. It was Ensign Malik, one of her most trusted communication officers. He looked nervous. "Ma'am," he said in a low voice, "we picked up something strange." Rhea's eyes narrowed. "Go on." "It came through a diplomatic channel, encrypted. Not ours, not from any of our allies." He handed her a small data chip. She placed it into her wrist console and waited. A few seconds passed, and then a single message appeared on the screen. "Begin Phase 1. Earth will not see it coming." Rhea's heart stopped. "Where did this come from?" she asked. "We don't know. The signature is masked, but the timing. It came right before the meeting began." Rhea looked toward the table where aliens were still laughing and pretending. The peace summit was about to start. They were here to sign a new agreement, one that would limit Earth's expansion rights in 3 sectors. She had argued against the treaty, so had many others, but the Council wanted it. They said it would bring balance. Rhea now wondered if it was just a trap. "Keep this quiet," she told Malik. "Not a word, not yet." He nodded and left quickly. She walked toward the main conference room, her boots clicking on the smooth floor. The doors opened silently, revealing a large circular chamber. Representatives from Earth and alien worlds took their seats around a glowing blue table. The head of the council, a tall alien named Vostell, stood in the center. His skin was pale silver, his eyes glowing faintly. He raised his hand. "Let this be a day of peace," he said in a deep, smooth voice. "Let all races agree. Let Earth know its place." The last words hung in the air like poison. Rhea didn't sit. She stared at him. Her fingers tightened. Her mind ran through possibilities. She opened a secure line to Earth Command through her neural link. It took 5 seconds for the reply. "Captain Carter, what's wrong?" a voice asked. She sent the message she had received. There was silence. Then the voice returned, sharper now. "That code? That's military grade. Not pirate, not rogue. That's an organized fleet's transmission." Rhea answered quietly in her mind. "Should I act?" "Not yet," came the reply. "Watch, wait, record everything. We'll prepare." The meeting continued. Speeches were made. Agreements were signed. No one mentioned the message. No one talked about fleets or war or betrayal. But Rhea saw it in their eyes. Some aliens avoided looking at her. Others smiled too much. A few, like the armored Bakari warrior sitting across the room, just stared in silence, their hands near their weapons. A treaty was finalized. Earth lost rights in 3 sectors. The crowd clapped. Drinks were raised. Holograms lit up in celebration. But deep in her mind, Rhea whispered, "This isn't peace. It's preparation." Later that night, alone, in her quarters, she opened a hidden screen. It showed Earth's defense grid, quiet for now, but alert. A blinking symbol appeared near the Urt defense line. One of Earth's listening posts had just picked up movement near deep space, too far to see clearly, but not far enough. "They're coming," she whispered. and Earth would be ready. Asterisk Ravi smiled as he adjusted the sensor panel. The wiring sparked a little, but he didn't care. This wasn't Earth. It wasn't even a military base. It was just a shared science station orbiting a dead moon. Boring, but safe. Or at least, it used to feel that way. That's when she showed. Up again? Still poking wires, human? Came the soft, teasing voice behind him. Ravi turned and saw her Liari, the small alien girl with light green skin and bright silver eyes. Her fingers were slender, her hair shimmered like starlight, and her grin was wicked. "You'll blow us all up one day," she joked, tilting her head. Ravi rolled his eyes. "At least I'm fixing something. What are you doing?" "Annoying." "You," she replied without pause, flashing a sharp smile. That made him laugh. She always did this, showed up when he was alone, poked fun, and then vanished before he could think too hard about it. But today, something was different. She didn't vanish. Instead, she walked closer and sat down on a metal crate near him. Her smile stayed, but her eyes looked tired. "You okay?" he asked. "Of course," she said quickly, then paused. "Just tired of pretending." Ravi tilted his head. "Pretending what?" "That everything's still okay," she said softly. "That none of you are in danger." He frowned. "What do you mean?" Liari looked around the room, as if the walls could hear. "Your people are about to be betrayed. You don't see it yet, but I do." The joking tone was gone. For the first time since he met her, she sounded serious. Too serious. Ravi stood slowly, brushing his hands on his uniform. "Liari, are you in trouble?" "No," she said. Then added, "Not yet." They stared at each other. The silence was heavier than usual. "Then why are you warning me?" he asked. She looked away. "Because you're the only one who doesn't laugh at me." His throat tightened. "You're not a joke, Liari." Her eyes shimmered as she looked back. "And don't treat me like one." That night, Ravi couldn't sleep. He kept replaying her words in his mind. Something was coming. He could feel it now, just like Captain Carter did, miles away in the embassy tower. And Liari had seen it first. The next day, the space station held a small celebration. Treaty Week always ended with dancing and drinks and cross-species mingling. Even the junior engineers were invited to the hall. Ravi stood at the edge, holding a drink, eyes scanning the room. That's when he saw her. Liari wasn't laughing tonight. She wasn't teasing anyone. She wore a long silver robe, formal attire for her kind. But her smile was gone. She walked slowly, eyes serious, like someone with too much on her mind. Then she spotted him and walked straight toward him. "You came," she said. "You said there'd be snacks," he replied with a nervous smile. Her lips twitched. "There." "Not very good," he chuckled. "Still better than recycled food paste." Liari looked around. "There's something I need to tell you." Ravi leaned closer. "Now?" "No," she whispered. "Later, when no one's watching." And before he could ask more, she reached out, gently touched his hand, and walked away. But she didn't look back. That night, as he returned to his quarters, Ravi found her sitting by his door, legs crossed, arms around her knees. He froze. "Liari?" She looked up at him. Her voice was quiet. "I don't want to laugh anymore, Ravi. Not if it means losing you." He didn't know what to say, not yet. But something had changed. And that night, the alien girl wasn't joking. Asterisk. The alarm never sounded. But Ravi woke up anyway. His heart was racing. Something in the air felt wrong. Not the station systems. Those were fine. No blinking lights. No sirens. Just a feeling. Then he noticed something. The door to his room was open, and sitting inside, on the edge of his bed, was Liari, wearing the same silver robe from the night before. "Didn't expect me?" she asked, her voice light. You opened my door. Without permission, he said, half joking, half shaken. She grinned. Your lock is laughably simple. But she didn't move, didn't get up, just looked at him. He stared at her for a long moment. Liari, what's going on? I told you, she said. Something bad is coming. I need more than that. She finally stood, walked toward him slowly. Her hands were behind her back, like a child hiding something. I brought you this, she said, revealing a small, tube-shaped device, black metal, humming faintly with energy. He took it carefully. What is it? It's not supposed to exist, but I took it. For you, Ravi frowned. What does it do? She leaned closer. Her voice was suddenly serious. It listens, and it records. Records what? War plans. Ravi stared at her in disbelief. You stole military intel? She shrugged. It's not stealing if they never respected me enough to hide it. Her smile returned, but her eyes were dull, empty. He didn't know what to say. Later that day, Ravi sat in the engineering bay, pretending to check fuel levels. In reality, his hands were shaking as he held the cube under the scanner. The results came in encrypted layers, government-level tech, alien fleet tags, location markers, timelines, and a date. 2 days from now. He stared at it for a long time, then stood up and walked to the nearest comms panel. But the screen blinked red. Communication locked. Diplomatic protocol in effect. Someone had shut down personal channels. No messages off station. Not even to Earth. He looked back at the cube. Liari hadn't been joking. That evening, he found her again on the outer deck, sitting cross-legged near the viewing dome, watching. The stars. You were right, he said quietly. She didn't look at him. I usually am. You just don't listen. He knelt beside her. I want to help, he said. She turned to him slowly. Why now? Because your eyes stopped laughing. There was a long pause. Then she spoke, her voice soft. I was chosen to come here because I'm harmless, small, silly. They thought I wouldn't notice what they were planning. But you did. She nodded, and I saw you, fixing everything, smiling, pretending nothing's broken. Just like me. Their eyes met. For once, she didn't make a joke. I don't want you to get hurt. Ravi, she said. I already am, he replied. And this time, it was her who looked away. That night, Ravi hid the cube in the wall panel of his room. He didn't sleep. He just lay there, staring at the ceiling. In the quiet. He thought about the things Larry said, and the things she hadn't. He knew one thing for certain now. The alien girl had been laughing for a reason, because no one had taken her seriously, because it was the only way to survive. But now she was done laughing, and Ravi? He was ready to listen. She showed up with snacks. Ravi blinked as Liari entered the engineering bay, holding a tray of strange alien food, bright purple cubes and soft glowing slices. You eat when you're scared, right? She said, placing the tray on his console. Ravi gave her a puzzled look. I eat when I'm hungry. She tilted her head. Same thing for humans. She tried to smile, but her voice didn't dance like it used to. The edges were tight, tired. Her fingers trembled slightly as she placed one cube into her mouth. You're not really here for snacks, he said. She swallowed and finally looked at him. No, I'm here because the joke is over. Ravi straightened in his seat. You mean the war plans? No, she said. I mean me. She stepped back, suddenly serious. Her hands dropped to her sides. I need you to understand something. About me, about my people. We never joke when we're scared. We only pretend to laugh so no one sees our fear. Ravi nodded slowly. She continued, her voice quieter now. That's why I always teased you. Because you were the only thing here. That felt warm. Ravi's chest tightened. Then she said it. Tomorrow, my people make their first strike. Not on Earth. On this station. His eyes went wide. Why here? He whispered. Because here is where Earth signs weakness. Here is where Earth gives. Upland, power, pride. They think destroying this place will break your spirit. Ravi stood up, moving closer. But you warned me. Why? She looked up at him. Because if you die, no one will remember me. Later, Ravi moved quietly through the halls. Everything looked normal. Diplomats drinking. Technicians working. Music playing in the mess hall. But now, it all felt fake. He saw what Liari meant. Everyone here was pretending. The aliens laughed. Too loudly. The guards stood too still. Something behind the piece smelled, like smoke before a fire. He reached the comms tower. Locked. Military access only. He tapped his wrist. Still no signal. Come on, come on. Suddenly, a hand grabbed his shoulder. He spun around, but it was her. Liari. No good, she said. They shut everything down. You're being watched. He stepped back. And what do? We don't run, she said. We record. And survive. She handed him something else. A small crystal chip, transparent but glowing inside. This holds the full proof. Location of the fleets. Timings, targets, names, all of it. Where did you get this? He asked. I used to smile at powerful people, Ravi, she said softly. They never noticed what I took when I laughed. That night, Ravi hid the chip inside a broken vent in his quarters. He didn't know how long it would be safe there. But it was all he had. And that night, Liari didn't return to her own room. She stood at his doorway again, silent, no teasing. I can't sleep, she said simply. Ravi stepped aside and let her in. She sat on the floor near his bed, knees, hugged to her chest, glowing eyes fixed on the floor. Do you think they'll win? She asked after a while. He shook his head. Not if we make them regret it. She smiled. But this time, it wasn't a joke. Somewhere above the station, a stealth fleet crossed the edge of neutral space, moving without light, without sound. We're close, closer than anyone on Eros 9 realized. But two people on the station were. Ready. One human. One alien girl who finally stopped laughing. Asterisk. The lights flickered just once. No alarm. No announcement. But Larry stood up the moment they did. There. Here, she said quietly. Ravi felt his chest tighten. You're sure? She didn't answer. She just walked to the window. The stars outside the station shimmered like always except one. One wasn't a star. It moved. Then another. Then 5. Faint shadows. Warships. Approaching in silence. Liari turned to him. Her robe fell from her shoulder. Revealing her clan tattoo faded, nearly erased. They'll fire on this station the moment the treaty data is uploaded, she whispered. It's how they erase witnesses. Ravi stepped closer. How much time? Minutes, maybe less. He looked at her. Then we run. But she shook her head. No escape pods will launch. They've been locked remotely. My people control the station's emergency systems now. Ravi's fists clenched. Then we fight. She gave a sad smile. You're human. You always think there's a fight left. They raced down the hallway together, past confused diplomats and sleepy-eyed. Guards. No one had seen the ships yet. No one understood. Ravi opened a wall panel, pulling out the hidden data crystal. This can't die with us, he said. Liari looked at it like it was fire. It won't. I'll make sure of it. He paused. You're coming with me. She shook her head slowly. No, I'm not. What? Liari stepped closer. Her eyes shimmered. Not with laughter, but with tears. They'll search everyone. Scan everyone. If I stay near you, you'll be caught. If I turn you in, they'll believe I'm still one of them. Ravi stepped back. No, no way. I'm not leaving you. She placed both hands on his chest. You have to. I'm the distraction. Now. He stared at her furious, afraid, helpless. I don't want to lose you, he said. She smiled softly. And remember me without the laughter. And before he could stop her, she ran down the corridor, toward the guards. Ravi turned the other way. His boots echoed in the metal halls, his heart pounding. He headed toward the old maintenance duct's forgotten systems. Even the aliens ignored Dot. There was no plan. Just instinct. But Lyari had given him time. And time was everything now. Dot back in the main corridor. 2 alien guards stopped Lyari. One pointed a weapon. She raised her hands slowly and smiled. I saw the human, she said. He ran toward the East Wing. They scanned her. No chip. No data. They believed her. But one guard hesitated. Why didn't you stop him? She leaned forward and whispered, because I want to see what happens when the weak fight back. The guards laughed Dot and walked away. Lyari stood there alone, the smile dropping from her face like a falling star. Above the station, the enemy fleet uncloaked. For a second, they looked like stars blinking out, and red lights flashed across their hulls. Target lock engaged. The treaty upload completed. The council applauded in the conference room, and the sky turned red. Ravi reached the emergency beacon chamber. Just as the blast hit the outer hull. The station shook. Lights died. Sirens finally screamed. He slammed the beacon into manual mode and shoved the crystal into the port. Come on. Send, send. A flash of blue lit the console. Signal sent. Proof released. And Earth would know. Far above Earth. At Fleet Command HQ, a console blinked. A signal from Eros 9 arrived. Wrapped in encryption. An officer read the header. Then paled. War declaration confirmed. Back on the station. Ravi stumbled through smoke-filled halls, trying to reach the last shelter zone. He didn't know if Lyari was alive. He didn't even know if the station would hold. But he had one hope, that her laughter had bought them enough time to survive the fire. Asterisk. Smoke filled the corridor. Ash floated like soft snowflakes, landing on metal walls, on broken glass, on silent bodies. Ravi could barely breathe. His lungs burned. His arms shook, but he kept crawling, one hand forward, then the other. His uniform was torn, and blood ran down the side of his face. Lyari, he whispered. No answer. Just the hiss of cracked pipes and the distant moan of bending steel. The station had been hit in 3 places. A 4th strike was stopped, he hoped, by the beacon he sent. But the price was already high. Half the habitat ring was gone. He had seen bodies float through broken bulkheads. He had seen fire in zero gravity. But what scared him most was not seeing her. He reached the junction where the guards last saw her. They were gone now. Just their weapons lay melted into the floor. Ravi looked around, coughing. Then something moved behind the pile of collapsed wall plating. His heart stopped. He rushed over, pulling at debris with shaking hands. A piece of cloth showed, silver, torn. Lyari, he cried. No answer. He ripped metal aside, fingers bleeding, until a hand reached up. Small, trembling, alive. She coughed as he pulled her free. Her robe was half burned, her face covered in ash. One side of her hair was singed. But her eyes, her silver eyes opened, and when she saw him, her voice broke. I didn't want to be found. If you were gone. He held her tightly. I told you I'm not leaving you. She pressed her forehead against his. Then take me with you, even if it's into fire. They found shelter in a half-collapsed maintenance tunnel. He rapped. Her in emergency foil, holding her close. She didn't joke. She didn't tease. She just breaths, slowly, painfully. Did they get the signal? She asked. Yes, he said. Earth knows. They're coming. She smiled faintly. Then maybe we weren't fools. He brushed ash from her face. No, we were the only ones who saw the truth. Her eyes fluttered. I was afraid. He nodded. So was I. I still am, she whispered. And then, barely louder than the wind in the broken vents, she added, but I'm more afraid of losing you. Time passed strangely in the dark. The lights flickered. The station creaked. Somewhere, fires still burned. But they stayed close to lives that weren't supposed to matter, now holding the weight of everything that came next. And as they sat together, she leaned her head against his shoulder. If we survive, she whispered, I don't want to laugh for anyone else again. Ravi closed his eyes. You won't have to. In the silence of a dying station, two hands stayed locked together. And in the distance, the stars began to shift. Earth was coming, not with peace, but with purpose. The stars outside burned white, not from sunlight, not from peace. From warships. Dozens of Earth's supercarriers now surrounded the shattered remains of Eros 9 station. Their hulls were dark steel, their engines humming with quiet fury. Inside a cracked tunnel of the station, Ravi held Liari close. The comm unit on his wrist flickered. To life, human survivor identified. Signal traced, sending med pod. He looked down at her. Her eyes were closed, lips pale, chest rising weakly. They're here, he whispered. Her eyelids fluttered. Your people? He nodded. And they're not joking either. Rescue pod broke through the smoke like a silver arrow. Its doors opened silently, white light spilling into the broken corridor. Med drones floated out, scanning, beeping softly. Vitals low, one said. Both alive, priority evac. Ravi helped Liari inside first, then collapsed next to her. As the pod sealed shut and lifted off. He glanced back at the cracked walls, the torn fabric, the corridor where everything changed. And where her laughter finally stopped hiding the truth. On board the Terran flagship, Ravi stood at the edge of a wide glass window, wrapped in fresh bandages, a warm jacket over his shoulders. Across from him, Liari sat on a medical bed, arms covered in healing salve, her hair gently brushed, her eyes watching him. He smiled. You're quiet, she nodded. I don't know how to talk without joking. He walked closer. Then don't talk. Just stay. She looked down. Will your people let me? They already know what you did. You saved the truth. You saved me. She looked up. I didn't think anyone would care. He touched her hand. I did. I do. A day later, the Galactic Council was in ruins. The transmission they'd tried to bury Liari's cube was now being shown across 1,000 worlds, betrayal, hidden fleets, lies covered in false treaties, and her voice, clear and unshaken, describing what she saw from inside. Ravi watched it replay on the screen and looked over at her. I guess you stopped being invisible. She looked at the screen too. I didn't want to be famous, just remembered. He leaned in. I'll remember everything. She blinked fast. Even the teasing? He chuckled. Especially the teasing. That night, they walked onto the observation deck. No war. No alarms. Just stars. Liari stared at them with a soft breath. You know what I used to say when I looked at the stars? He shook his head. She whispered, one day I'll escape to them and never come back. And now? He asked. She turned to him. Now I don't want to escape. She took his hand and placed it against her chest, right over the faded tattoo. I want to build something new, not run from the old. He looked at her, truly looked. The girl who once laughed to hide her fear now stood in silence, without shame, without hiding. Later, when reports came in from the surviving diplomats, they spoke of one thing over and over again. Not the blast, not the betrayal, but the human who stayed behind, and the tiny alien girl who walked through fire just to save the truth. They weren't soldiers, they weren't leaders, but their story traveled faster than any warship. Somewhere on Earth, a statue would one day be built. It would not show them fighting. It would show them sitting side by side, hands clasped. No words on the plaque, just a single phrase, whispered again and again across the stars. She was never joking. She was warning us all along. And the human? He never left her. Side, asterisk,